Crimson Tide made the Final Four for the first time in school history last season. They were powered by that gentleman on the left of your screen, Mark Sears, who decided to return to college basketball. As a reward, he was given some early accolades as the only unanimous preseason All-American, according to our experts at CBSSports.com. Here's a couple of the other names on that first team from CBS Sports: Cooper Flagg, Hunter Dickinson, R.J. Davis, and Ryan Kalkbrenner. One of the surprises, no Huskies on that first team. You can find the full list of All-Americans on CBSSports.com right now. And to dive deeper into the list, we welcome back the Eye on College Basketball co-host, Matt Norlander. Matt, let's start out there in T-Town. Nate Oates was elated to get his guy Mark Sears back. He averaged 21.5 points, over 4 rebounds and 4 assists in just over 33 minutes of action throughout the season last year. And to take it a step further, Matt, I mentioned it, he was the only unanimous selection there on that first team from CBSSports.com. What were the experts seeing that gave him that distinction as unanimous first-team All-American?
Well, he could wind up being the most valuable player in the sport this season because Alabama projects as a preseason top 3, certainly universal top 5 pick, whether it's human voting or advanced metrics heading into the season. And Sears, who has certainly built up quite the career, he started at Ohio. And he not only did he start at Ohio, he was the backup point guard to Jason Preston the year Ohio beat Virginia in the 2021 bubble tournament. Then Sears started at Ohio the next year, and now he's moved on along here. He's really embodies what's so good about the portal and how players can play themselves up. But great distributor, really good rebounder for his size at 6'1", heady player, efficient player. Not the most reliable defender, but certainly is a solid two-way player and a wonderful floor leader. So from a statistical profile, I don't think there's a single player across the board on offense who brings as much back to the sport as he does. R.J. Davis is also very, very good, but didn't have the all-around statistical profile, and that's why I think Sears got universal recognition on our first team. Real quick, I'll just mention Davis there as well, because Davis is a returning first-team All-American honoree at CBS Sports. Sears was actually a second-team honoree for us last season there, but Davis is going to be a critical player, obviously, for a Carolina team that has a couple of good freshmen coming in, but lost some pieces, obviously, no question. But we think that R.J. Davis's contributions and his volume and basically the necessity to have him, take a ton of shots, average probably north of 20 points per game. He's been a really good player for a long time, and he's got a shot to put up one of the all-time Carolina stat records by the time he finishes this season.
Yeah, he's going to be a fun player to watch as well. He's going to have to compete, though, twice a year at least against Cooper Flagg and Duke. Obviously, we know the hype with Cooper Flagg coming into this season, a 5-star player at the high school ranks. And I know John Shire right now is just fist-pumping at the idea of these guys linking up with the Boozer twins even next year. But obviously, before we get way too ahead of ourselves, we got to talk about Flagg, the only freshman to earn All-American honors. You talked a little bit about his game earlier, Matt, but just remind the viewers at home what makes Cooper Flagg such a standout freshman and really just player in college basketball.
Sure. I'll also note that Cooper Flagg was not a unanimous pick, and I don't know if I was the only one, but I will tell you that I had Cooper Flagg as a second-team All-American preseason because he has a lot of talent around him, but nonetheless, he did win out with our voting collective and earned his first-team honoree going into the season here. His defense is really what puts him there. I mean, he's got such incredible preternatural defensive instincts that I think are going to translate effortlessly to the Division I level. I've seen Cooper Flagg play a number of games in person, obviously at the high school level, and he is quite the player there. Now, I don't expect him to lead Duke necessarily in scoring. He might, but I'm not banking on that necessarily. They've got Tyrese Proctor back, Caleb Foster. They've got Con Knipple, who's a really good scorer, as well as a freshman there. But Flagg does embody so much that you'd want to see out of a freshman. Good size, good athleticism, really good teammate, can handle the ball particularly well. He won't be tasked with being any kind of point forward, if you will, but he certainly has the capability to bring the ball up the floor, good in spacing there, and you can see just the company that he keeps in terms of some of their highest rated recruits in the 247 era. I would make the argument that no player matches Flagg's hype coming in to his freshman season than what we've seen over the past 2 years. That we eagerly await to see what Duke is going to be with Flagg involved, and I can't wait to see it as well. I'm going to head down to Durham later this week and catch Duke in practice and see what John Shire's building there in Durham.
We love a good deep tease. That's like the second deep tease you've given us here as college basketball season gets underway. I do want to mention Cooper Flagg, the best recruit that Duke has seen since the 2000 season, according to our partners over there at 24/7. So to your point, he is certainly a guy we are going to want to watch in 2024. Another couple of guys, couple of big men to keep our eye on. We start with Big 12 preseason player of the year, Hunter Dickinson, returning for a 5th year as well. And then another big man we're following on that first team list is Ryan Kalkbrenner out of Creighton. What stands out to you about those two guys, particularly as they're on that first team All-American?
Well, they stand out for different reasons there. Hunter Dickinson is an elite big man on the offensive end. His defense is consistently criticized, and rightfully so. He is not much of a defensive presence. In fact, if you wanted to make the case that Dickinson might not deserve first team distinction because of how much of a sieve he can be defensively, I'm here to listen to that case. But what he's going to do on offense, I think, is undeniable there. And as a 5th-year player, his return to Kansas basically was the thing that locked up KU as the preseason #1 AP team for the 2nd consecutive season there. So he's going to be crucial to Kansas's push to be better this season than it was a season ago. Kansas is also going to try and do something that hasn't been done with Dickinson in the middle since 2009, and that's be a preseason #1 team to win a national championship. Carolina was the last time we saw that back in the late aughts there. As for Kalkbrenner, he is a defensive specialist. He's a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year in the Big East. I think he's going to be the Defensive Player of the Year in the sport this season nationally. So if and when he wins a 4th Defensive Player of the Year distinction in the Big East, he'll be only the 2nd player to ever do that. The other guy was some dude named Patrick Ewing at Georgetown. So he is incredible on defense. I think Kalkbrenner is going to wind up being one of the 3 or 4 best players in the country this season. And just checking in with Creighton in recent weeks here, apparently his offseason regimen in terms of building out his offensive game has been enormous. So expect to see a much improved guy on the offensive end. I think Kalkbrenner is, we have him preseason first team All-American, so I don't want to understate it, if you will, but I actually think just how good he could be this season isn't being appreciated just yet. I think we'll be talking a different tune with Kalkbrenner by the time Creighton gets to December.
All right, we'll keep that in mind as the season rolls along. We already talked about RJ Davis out of UNC. By the way, he was the 5th UNC guard, a list that includes Michael Jordan, to be named the ACC Player of the Year. So we will keep our eye on him as a first-team All-American. But Matt, one of the biggest initial surprises here is that there were no UConns on that first team despite the back-to-back championships, although it makes sense when you think about all their top contributors playing professionally now, right? But where do they go from here? They've got a 2nd-team All-American in Alex Karaban. Is this kind of bulletin board material for the Fighting Dan Hurleys going into the season?
Dan Hurley will find bulletin board material for anything possible imaginable. So sure, I guess Alex Karaban getting 2nd-team All-American honors is actually a huge compliment to him and to that program, because when you look at a lot of the other players statistically, individually, and what they've achieved, Karaban obviously has that championship pedigree, which goes a very, very, very long way. So Karaban's going to be a really, really good player. He might not even lead UConn in scoring. Like, there's a chance it could be Liam McNeely that leads the team in scoring. Karaban's leadership is going to be crucial, and the fact that he has started his past 2 seasons with UConn is also pretty critical there. So obviously UConn was going to be represented as well. It should be. Karaban returning was not only critical to UConn's preseason top 5 standing, it was also, I think, vital to Dan Hurley not taking the Lakers job. So yes, Karaban is on our 2nd team alongside the likes of Janai Broome, an impressive big man at Auburn. Caleb Love at Arizona, who I think could be in contention potentially, we'll see, to be one of the best scorers in the country this season. Braden Smith at Purdue is going to be a point guard worth watching. No Zach Edey there anymore. Now watch Braden Smith. He was the preseason pick to be the Big Ten Player of the Year. He's on our 2nd team. And then Kadary Richmond at St. John's. He's also on our 2nd team. I think he is the true dark horse pick to be a National Player of the Year candidate, because I think St. John's has a really, really good team. So in that league with Alex Karaban, Cam Jones at Marquette, I think Kadary Richmond, whose statistical profile was incredible last year at Seton Hall, he makes an intra-conference transfer, and I just can't. Just talking about college hoops like this, we are 3 weeks out from the start of the season, exactly 3 weeks to the day, but this has the juices flowing. Cannot wait to get this season going, because we get the hype machine flowing in full, Haley, and then these schools and coaches, if they want to see snubs here or there, like, I completely hear you. Iowa State fans are in an uproar. There's no Taman Lipsey. He was on my ballot, Iowa State fans. I hear you entirely, so can't wait for hoop season to get started. And lists like this are really what get the fans involved, so I'm pumped.
I know, what a Monday, right? Coming in talking college basketball with Matt Norlander. Matt, we always appreciate the time. Certainly plenty for the guys to talk about on the Eye on College Basketball podcast. We're going to have preseason expectations, more AP rankings, all the things with college basketball coming up here in the next couple weeks, as Norlander mentioned. Get ready for it by listening in to the Eye on College Basketball podcast.